Okay, so if you're an early stage founder, I'm willing to bet there's one question that keeps you up at night. And it's this one. How much traction do I actually need to raise a seed round? It's a huge source of anxiety. So in this explainer, we're going to break it down and hopefully make it a whole lot clearer.
Right? It seems like such a simple question, but it is incredibly tricky. You can ask 5 different investors and get 5 completely different answers. It can feel really, really frustrating when you're just trying to get your company off the ground.
And this is exactly why it's so confusing. The truth is, the definition is totally subjective. Some investors want to see revenue, others might care way more about your tech or you or your team. But don't worry, we are going to cut through all that noise and give you a solid framework for how to think about this and, more importantly, how to talk about your progress.
So let's dive right in with the first big idea. And this is all about reframing what traction even means at this stage. We have to shift the whole conversation away from just revenue and towards something that's actually way more important: proof. Okay, so here's the common myth, the trap so many founders fall into, thinking that traction has to equal revenue, money in the bank. But that's just not the whole story, especially not at the seed stage. The reality is that investors know that some of the best companies raise money before they've made a single dollar. What they're really looking for is proof.
So let's define it right now for our purposes. At the seed stage, traction is just proof. It's evidence. It's proof that people out there actually want the thing you are building. It is proof that you are solving a real, painful problem that people will care about. That's it.
A much better way to think about this is to see your traction not as some static number on a spreadsheet, but as a story of forward motion. See, seed investors are looking for signals that you are on the path to something big. They just want to see that you're not standing still, that you're constantly building and learning and moving ahead.
Okay, so if traction is really about proof and forward motion, what does it actually look like? In the real world. Let's get into the specifics. What are the signals that investors are actually looking for in these super early days?
First up, let's talk about product signals. And notice, none of these require some perfectly polished, finished product. That little hack you built over a weekend that solves a real pain point for somebody, that's traction. That private beta you ran that got a small group of people genuinely excited, that's traction too. The whole point is to show that you're shipping, you're learning, and you're making real progress.
And then you've got market signals. This is proof that traction can come from completely outside your product. Maybe you made a demo video that got a ton of attention in your little niche, or a well-known company wants to do a pilot with you. These are incredibly powerful signs that the market itself is pulling your idea forward. It shows you're not just pushing a rock uphill all by yourself.
Now, this one is absolutely crucial, founder signals. Because at the seed stage, investors are betting on you more than anything else. They're looking for evidence that you can ship things quickly, that you think clearly, and that you understand the problem on a super deep level. Your speed of learning, your ability to adapt, that proves you're the right person for this job. And honestly, that is one of the most powerful forms of traction you can possibly have.
And we can make this even more concrete. Look at this breakdown. If you're building a B2B startup, strong traction might be a few early pilots, or even just letters of intent from real companies. For deep tech, it's all about hitting those technical milestones, like getting a working prototype. And for something like developer tools, it's all about getting that early usage and excitement from a core group of users. See, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of the signal for your specific world.
Okay, so you've looked at these signals and you've probably identified some in your own startup. Now, how do you actually talk about them? How do you tell that story? Well, that brings us to our next section, framing your progress with confidence.
Here's a super simple 3-step process. First, do not undersell your progress. Seriously, what feels small to you, like, oh, we only have 10 users, might be a huge positive signal to an investor. Second, focus on what that progress proved. Not just what you did, but what you learned. And finally, connect it to what's next. Turn that past progress into the launchpad for your next big move.
And this quote just nails it. This is the key takeaway. Investors are not buying your product as it exists right now. They're investing in what it proves. They're investing in the evidence that shows you're on the right track, that you're learning super fast, and that you're heading toward a massive opportunity.
So all of this brings us to our final and maybe most important point. The ultimate goal here isn't to hit some magic revenue number before you can raise money. The goal is to demonstrate momentum.
And you have got to understand this difference. Later on, at a Series A, investors are going to want to see those beautiful up and to the right growth charts and revenue lines, for sure. But at the seed stage, it is all about momentum signals. those early signs that things are working, even if it's on a really small scale.
So remember this, you do not need to check every single box. You don't need amazing product signals and amazing market signals and revenue. You just need one strong signal, one powerful point of proof that you can lean into and build a really compelling story around. Find that thing and make it shine.
And this all leads to a really crucial mindset shift. You're not raising money to get validation. You've already been getting bits of that yourself through your progress. You're raising seed funding to fuel that progress, to go faster and to accelerate the momentum you have already started to build.
And when you can frame your progress this way, you completely change the dynamic of your investor conversations. The question is no longer the skeptical, when will this work? Instead, it becomes a collaborative, exciting, okay, this is working. How can we help this go faster? And that is the powerful position you want to be in.